English. Picture this. You are staring at your phone. The text bubble pops up with those 3 little dancing dots. You are waiting. Then suddenly they disappear. No message, just silence. And in that exact second, your heart rate spikes, your stomach drops, and your mind starts racing. That silence just hijacked your brain. You think you are angry or anxious because of the person on the other end, but you aren't. You are the victim of a biological glitch that has been running in your operating system for thousands of years. We need to talk about the 12 millisecond rule because it is the single reason you feel out of control. Here is the science that most people never learn. When something triggers you, like that ignored text or a weird tone of voice from your boss, your amygdala reacts in 12 milliseconds. That is your brain's fear center. It screams danger and floods your body with adrenaline before you even blink. But here is the problem. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, reason, and actually calming you down, takes 500 milliseconds to wake up. Do the math. 12 milliseconds versus 500 milliseconds. That is a massive gap. It means you are biologically wired to react nearly half a second before you can physically think. You are literally feeling the emotion before your intelligence has even entered the room. That is why you send the angry double text. That is why you spiral into a doom loop wondering if everyone hates you. That is why you snap at your partner and regret it 2 minutes later. It is not because you are crazy, and it is not because you are weak. It is because your hardware is outdated. Your brain thinks that unread message is a saber-toothed tiger, and it is trying to save your life by hijacking your logic. But we are going to fix that today. In the next 60 minutes, I am going to show you how to patch this glitch. We are not going to talk about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't care. That is not detachment, that is just repression. I am going to show you how to bridge that half-second gap so your logic can catch up to your feelings. We are going to take you from a state of constant survival mode where every notification feels like a threat and move you into a state of power. We are not teaching you how to become cold. We are teaching you how to become bulletproof. Let's get into it. We need to have a very honest, slightly uncomfortable conversation about who is actually holding the controller in your life, because right now, statistically speaking, it isn't you. If you look at the way most people navigate their day, they believe they are the main character of their own movie, the hero on a hero's journey. But if we look at the data of their behavior, they are actually functioning as an NPC, a non-playable character. In video game culture, an NPC runs on a script written by someone else. They have no agency. They just react to the environment. If you poke them, they say a line. If you attack them, they run away. They are programmed to respond to external stimuli instantly and predictably. Now, look at your last 24 hours. If a rude barista messes up your oat milk latte and that dictates your mood for the next 40 minutes, you are not the main character. You are running a script. If a passive-aggressive email from a coworker ruins your entire evening and keeps you from being present with your family, you have been coded to react. This is what we call emotional outsourcing. Emotional outsourcing is the silent killer of your potential because it is the act of handing over your emotional remote control to literally anyone who walks by. Think about the insanity of this mechanism. You would never hand a stranger your wallet and say, "Here, spend this however you like." You would never hand a random person on the internet the keys to your car and say, "Drive this into a wall if you feel like it." Yet, every single day, we hand the keys to our peace of mind, our focus, and our happiness to complete strangers, traffic jams, and internet trolls. When you attach your internal state to external events, you are outsourcing your regulation. The source material for this philosophy identifies this as the root cause of emotional poverty. You are constantly in debt because you are spending your energy reacting to things that do not offer you a return on investment. If your peace depends on how others act, you will never be peaceful because you cannot control how others act. You are betting your sanity on a roulette wheel where you don't even get to spin the ball. Let's visualize this differently because the gaming analogy is fun, but the reality is much darker. The source text describes overattachment not as love or passion, but as a prison. I want you to close your eyes for a second and imagine a cell. You think you are free because you can walk around, go to work, and buy things. But you are incarcerated by your own reactions. Every time you feel that compulsion to check your phone to see if they texted back, that is the walls closing in. Every time you replay an argument in the shower, winning a debate that happened 3 years ago, you are pacing the length of your cell. This is the invisible thief of peace. It enters quietly through a notification or a tone of voice, and suddenly you are serving a life sentence of overthinking. The text explicitly states that we mistake this attachment for being emotional or caring deeply, but that is a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about the cage. It isn't love. It is resistance to letting go. It is a refusal to accept reality as it is. When you bleed for things that don't care back, you aren't being a martyr. You are being an inmate. This sounds harsh, but we have to establish the stakes because they are terrifyingly high. This isn't just about feeling good or being zen. This is about your survival in a competitive hierarchy. The cost of this reactivity is tangible, and it is costing you money, status, and time. Let's talk about the money first. We live in an attention economy. Your ability to focus is your primary asset. If you are operating in what the source calls level 1, unconscious reactivity, you are bleeding that asset dry. A minor emotional spark, a snide comment from a boss or a rejection letter, burns hours of your calm. You cannot do deep, high-value work when your amygdala is hijacked. The biological reality is that when you get triggered, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, strategy, and making money, goes offline for roughly 20 minutes to an hour. If you get triggered 4 times a day, you have lost half your workday to chemical incompetence. You are literally paying a reactivity tax on your career. Then there is the cost to your status. We have this cultural misconception that reacting with anger or loud emotion is a sign of strength. We think, I'm not going to let them get away with that. So we explode. But the philosophy of detachment teaches us that true strength is quiet. Reactivity makes you fragile. It exposes your buttons. If I know exactly what to say to make you lose your cool, I own you. I am the player. You are the NPC. People who are easily triggered are viewed as low status because they lack self-control. The source text puts it perfectly. Reactive people believe they are defending themselves, but they are actually exposing their weakest point, their inability to stay centered. You lose respect the moment you lose control. Status belongs to the person who can stand in the storm without being carried away by it. Finally, and perhaps most tragically, there is the cost of time. We are talking about the doom spiral. The source material describes this as emotional debt. You spend energy you don't have, worrying about outcomes you can't control, creating stories about why someone hasn't replied to you. You create entire fiction novels in your head based on silence. They hate me. I'm getting fired. I'm not good enough. You spend hours in this state of high alert survival mode, scanning for threats that aren't there. That is time you never get back. You are spending your lifespan on hallucinations. You have to understand that this isn't entirely your fault. It is your biology. Your brain is built for survival, not for peace. It loves patterns. Every time you explode or doom spiral, your brain gets a hit of dopamine because it thinks, good job, we reacted to the threat, we survived. You are chemically addicted to your own misery. But just because it is biological doesn't mean it is acceptable. You are running outdated software on modern hardware. You are treating an unanswered text message with the same chemical severity as a saber-toothed tiger in the bushes. So here is the crossroads. You can stay the NPC. You can keep letting the world write your script. You can let the traffic jam decide if you have a good morning. You can let the number of likes on your post decide your self-worth. You can remain in the prison of over-attachment, pacing back and forth, bleeding for things that do not bleed for you. Or you can decide to pick up the controller. You can realize that true power, the kind that builds empires and attracts real love, is the ability to create a gap between the trigger and your response. That gap is where your freedom lives. That gap is where the NPC dies and the hero is born. We are going to teach you how to widen that gap, how to stop the bleeding, and how to become unshakable. But first, you have to admit that right now, the game is playing you. Let's address the elephant in the room immediately, because if we don't, nothing else I say in this video is going to land. When most people hear the words emotional detachment, they immediately picture a very specific internet archetype. You know the one. It is the Sigma male grindset edit. It is the Patrick Bateman character. It is the idea that to be strong, you have to turn into a cold, unfeeling robot who stares blankly at the wall and treats people like chess pieces. We need to shatter that myth right now because that isn't detachment. That is suppression. And there is a massive, dangerous difference between the two. If you are trying to become an unfeeling stone because you saw it on a TikTok reel, you aren't mastering your emotions. You are burying them alive. And as anyone who understands basic psychology will tell you, things buried alive don't stay down. They claw their way back up, usually as anxiety, burnout, or a total meltdown at the worst possible time. The source material for today's deep dive calls this the trap of apathy. It's a prison disguised as armor. The goal here isn't to become an iceman who feels nothing. The goal is to become like a sniper, someone with total control, lowered heart rate, and absolute clarity amidst the chaos. Let's reframe this using a concept from the philosophy we are studying today. The biggest mistake people make is visualizing detachment as a concrete wall. You think that to be safe, you have to build this massive fortress around your heart where nothing gets in and nothing gets out. Sure, a wall keeps the pain out, but it also keeps the sunlight out, keeps connection out, keeps life out. If you build a wall, you don't get clarity, you get darkness. You lose the ability to read the room, you lose your intuition, and you lose your ability to influence others because humans are wired to connect, not to bounce off concrete. Instead of a wall, I want you to visualize a filter. This is the core metaphor you need to download into your brain. True emotional detachment is a sophisticated, high-tech filtration system. It is not about blocking reality. It is about processing it. A filter lets the water through but catches the poison. It lets the reality of the situation enter your mind, the facts, the data, the words people are saying, but it blocks the toxic emotional residue, the assumptions, and the ego-driven stories that usually come attached to them. This is what we mean when we say detachment is not about being numb. It is about being free. You are free to engage with the world without being infected by it. Think about the difference between coldness and calm. These two things look similar on the surface, but biologically and energetically, they are opposites. Coldness is actually a state of weakness. It is a defense mechanism. People turn cold when they are terrified of being hurt, so they shut down. It is reactive. It stems from fear. Calm, on the other hand, is sovereignty. Calm is power. The most powerful person in the room is not the one shouting, and it is definitely not the one pretending they don't care while secretly seething inside. The most powerful person in the room is the one with the lowest heart rate. This is where we get into the biology of the sniper mindset. When you are reactive, you are operating out of your amygdala. That is the lizard brain, the ancient alarm system that screams danger when your boss uses a slightly weird tone of voice or your partner leaves you on read. When the amygdala gets hijacked, you lose about 10 to 15 IQ points instantly. You aren't thinking, you are surviving. The detached individual, the master, stays in the prefrontal cortex. This is the logic center, the CEO of the brain. By keeping your cool, you literally have access to more brain power than the person freaking out across from you. That is why detachment is a competitive advantage. It's not about not caring. It's about not letting the chaos hijack your intelligence. We have to talk about this concept of not caring because it is the most common misunderstanding. True detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people or outcomes. It means you stop bleeding for things that don't care back. That is a crucial distinction. The text we are analyzing describes this as stopping the emotional outsourcing of your peace. When you are overattached, you are essentially handing the remote control of your mood to everyone else. A rude barista clicks the button, and you get angry. A traffic jam clicks the button, and you get anxious. You are a puppet. Detachment cuts those strings. It allows you to love without losing yourself. It allows you to care about your career without having a breakdown if one project fails. It's the ability to stand in the storm without being carried away by the wind. You feel the wind, you acknowledge the storm, but your feet are planted. You are the observer, not the victim. There is a powerful phrase from the source text that says detachment is love in its purest form. That sounds contradictory, right? How can detachment be love? Because when you are anxiously attached, you aren't really loving the other person. You are usually loving your need for them, or you are trying to control them to make yourself feel safe. That is resistance, not love. When you detach, you remove the pressure. You allow people to be who they are. You allow situations to unfold as they are. You stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. And ironically, when you stop trying to strangle the outcome, you often get exactly what you wanted in the first place because you are operating from a place of clarity and confidence rather than desperation. So, as we move through this video, I need you to delete the image of the Sigma robot from your mind. That guy is fragile. One crack in his armor and he shatters. We are building something else. We are building an anti-fragile emotional foundation. We are teaching you to view emotions as data, not directives. An emotion is just a messenger delivering a package. The average person lets the messenger move into their house and trash the living room. The detached person opens the door, takes the package, reads the message, and sends the messenger away. This is about maintaining your frame. It is about realizing that your internal state does not have to match the external chaos. Just because the world is on fire doesn't mean you have to be. In fact, if you want to put the fire out, you better be the water. You cannot fight chaos with more chaos. You fight chaos with order. You fight noise with silence. You fight reactivity with a pause. This brings us to the ultimate realization of this section. Detachment is not an absence of emotion. It is the presence of awareness. It's the difference between drowning in a wave and surfing it. The iceman stays on the beach and refuses to get in the water because he's afraid of drowning. The sniper, the master, gets in the water, feels the power of the ocean, but knows exactly how to navigate it so he stays on top. Throughout the rest of this video, we are going to give you the actual tools to do this. We aren't just going to talk philosophy. We are going to talk about the stop method, the physiology of the pause, and how to rewire your brain to default to peace instead of panic. But it all starts with this reframing. You are not killing your emotions. You are training them. You aren't becoming less human. You are becoming a more capable human. You are moving from a state of survival to a state of creation. The text calls this sovereignty. It means you rule your own kingdom. No one walks into your mind with dirty feet unless you let them. No one steals your peace unless you hand it over. The filter is up. The heart rate is down. You are lucid. You are present. And that is infinitely more intimidating and powerful than someone acting cold. Coldness is a mask. Calm is a weapon. Choose your character. Here is the mechanics of why you lose your cool and exactly how to fix it, using nothing but biology and a little bit of strategy. We need to talk about the hardware you are working with because right now, you are trying to run modern software on an ancient operating system, and it is crashing your hard drive every time someone leaves a mean comment. This is the part where we stop talking about feelings as abstract clouds and start looking at the actual wiring under the hood of your skull. The reason you snap, spiral, or shut down is not because you are weak, it is because you are being hijacked. Specifically, it is called an amygdala hijack. Let's look at what is actually happening in your head during those 12 milliseconds that ruin your day. Your brain has an alarm system called the amygdala. Its only job is to keep you alive. It scans everything you see and hear for threats. Back in the day, a threat was a saber-toothed tiger trying to turn you into lunch. When the amygdala saw the tiger, it didn't have time to hold a committee meeting or weigh the pros and cons. It instantly smashed a big red panic button that flooded your body with adrenaline and cortisol. This is the fight or flight response. It shuts down digestion, tightens your muscles, and tunnels your vision. It is designed to make you fast and strong, not smart. Here is the glitch in the system. Your brain has not had a firmware update in about 10,000 years. To your amygdala, a saber-toothed tiger and a passive-aggressive email from your boss look exactly the same. They both register as threats to your safety or status. So when you see that notification pop up, or someone cuts you off in traffic, your amygdala reacts in about 12 milliseconds. That is instant. But the part of your brain that handles logic, empathy, and consequences, the prefrontal cortex, takes about 500 milliseconds to wake up. Do the math. There is a massive gap there. Your survival instinct has a half-second head start on your intelligence. That is why you send the angry text before you even realize you're angry. That is why you yell and then immediately regret it. Your logic is literally being held hostage by a panic button that thinks you are about to be eaten. We are going to fix this with a protocol I call the tactical pause. The source material refers to this as the STOP method, but I want you to think of it as a military-grade intervention for your own nervous system. You cannot control the trigger. You cannot control the idiot in the comments section or the tone of voice your partner just used, but you can control the gap. This is how you reclaim your power in 4 steps. First, you have the S, which stands for stop. This sounds obvious, but it is the hardest step you will ever take. When the hijack happens, your body screams at you to do something. It wants you to type, to yell, to throw something. You have to physically cease all activity. Do not type. Do not speak. Do not move. You have to freeze the frame. You are disrupting the pattern. By simply not acting on the impulse, you are sending the first signal to your brain that this is not an emergency. If a tiger were actually chasing you, you wouldn't stop. By stopping, you are hacking the system. The second step is T, which stands for take a breath. This is not some woo-woo spiritual fluff. This is a physiological override switch. We are going to use the 4-second physiology hack, often called box breathing. I want you to try this with me right now so you can feel the shift. You are going to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that breath for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale slowly for 4 seconds. And finally, hold the empty lungs for 4 seconds. Do you feel that? That drop in your shoulders? That is your vagus nerve telling your heart rate to slow down. You cannot think clearly in a body that feels unsafe. When you are shallow breathing, you are telling your brain you are in danger. When you use box breathing, you are manually flipping the switch from survival mode to safe mode. You are forcing the biology to calm down so the psychology can catch up. Once you have stopped and regulated your body, you move to O, which is observe. This is the data collection phase. Now that your prefrontal cortex is back online, you look at the situation like a scientist, not a victim. You ask yourself what is actually real here versus what is just your assumption. Are they attacking you, or are they just stressed? Is this text message actually rude? Or did you just read it in a sarcastic voice in your head? You are separating the raw data from the emotional story you were about to tell yourself. This observation creates distance. You are no longer drowning in the wave. You are standing on the shore watching it crash. Finally, you hit P, which is proceed. Now that you are calm, breathing, and looking at the facts, you get to choose your response. You act with intention rather than reacting with emotion. Maybe the smart move is to reply calmly. Maybe the smart move is to say nothing at all. The point is, you are choosing the action, not your 12-millisecond survival instinct. This tactical pause is the difference between a conversation that solves a problem and an argument that ruins a relationship. Now, I want to give you one more cheat code from the source material that acts like a shortcut for your brain. It is called labeling, or the name it to tame it technique. Neuroscience studies have shown that when you are feeling a chaotic emotion, your amygdala is lighting up like a Christmas tree. But the moment you assign a specific word to that feeling, the activity physically moves from the emotional center to the logical center of your brain. It shifts from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. Most people say, I am angry or I am sad. That is a mistake. That fuses your identity with the emotion. Instead, I want you to say, I feel anger or I feel disappointment. It sounds like a small semantic trick, but the brain treats it completely differently. When you say, I feel anxiety, you are identifying a data point. You are labeling the experience. This reduces the intensity of the emotion almost immediately. It is like turning on the lights in a dark room. The monster in the corner turns out to just be a pile of laundry. The scary feeling becomes just a word. You need to understand that your brain loves patterns. Every time you scream, panic, or doom scroll when you feel bad, your brain releases a little hit of dopamine. It says, good job, we survived the tiger. Even though there was no tiger, you are literally addicted to your own stress response. The only way to break that addiction is to prove to your brain that you can survive the discomfort without the explosion. This is about neuroplasticity. That is a fancy word for the fact that your brain is plastic. It can be molded. Every time you use the tactical pause, every time you box breathe instead of snapping, you are physically rewiring the neural pathways in your head. You are shrinking the amygdala and thickening the prefrontal cortex. You are building a brain that is biologically better at being calm. So the next time you feel that heat rise in your chest, remember the mechanics. It is just a biological glitch. It is a false alarm. You are not in danger. You are just uncomfortable. And you have the tools to hack the system. Stop, breathe, label it, and then, and only then, do you proceed. That is how you stop being a passenger in your own mind and start driving the car. Here is the cleaned and formatted text. We need to gamify your internal operating system right now, because if you do not know where you are standing on the map, you are never going to find the treasure. Think of emotional mastery not as this vague spiritual concept, but as a literal video game skill tree. Most people are running around in the tutorial level getting wrecked by low-level mobs while thinking they are playing on hard mode. The source material identifies 4 distinct levels of emotional existence, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself about where you are right now. This is the status-seeking portion of the video where we strip away the ego and look at the data. Let's start at the bottom of the barrel with level 1, which is unconscious reactivity, also known as the victim. This is the default factory setting for the human brain, and honestly, it is where 90% of the population lives and dies. At this level, you are basically an NPC in your own life. You are a non-player character with a pre-written script that you didn't even write. Life feels like it is happening to you rather than for you. You are constantly bracing for impact. You walk into a room and the energy is tense, so you get tense. Someone sends you a text with a slightly off tone and your stomach drops. You are not driving the car, you are tied up in the trunk. The defining characteristic of level 1 is the total lack of a gap between the trigger and your reaction. It is instantaneous. Neurologically speaking, this is an amygdala hijack in its purest form. Your brain sees a threat, even if that threat is just a weird look from a coworker, and within 12 milliseconds it floods your system with cortisol. You snap back. You get defensive. You spiral into a 3-hour depression because a stranger on the internet disagreed with you. And the worst part is you justify it. You say things like, "That is just how I am," or "I am Italian so I have a temper," or "They made me angry." You have outsourced your emotional control to everyone else, which means you are emotionally broke. You are paying interest on debts you didn't even sign up for. It is exhausting, and it keeps your nervous system in a state of low-level survival mode where peace is physically impossible. Now, if you are watching this video, you might have already graduated to level 2, which is conscious reactivity or the observer. This is the most annoying level in the entire game. I am not going to lie to you, this level sucks because ignorance was bliss back at level 1, but now you are awake. At level 2, you still react, but you see yourself doing it. It is like watching a car crash in slow motion, and you are driving the car, but the brakes are cut. You can feel the anger rising up in your chest. You can hear your voice getting louder during an argument. There is this tiny voice in the back of your head screaming, "Stop talking, just shut up, walk away." But your mouth keeps moving. This is the stage where you know better, but you cannot quite do better yet. You catch yourself doom scrolling for validation or replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, and you think, "Why am I doing this?" That frustration is actually a good sign. Feels like failure, but it is actually the birth of awareness. You are starting to spot the patterns. You realize that every time you feel rejected, you shut down, or every time you feel unsafe, you get loud. You are still drowning in the waves, but at least now you know you are in the ocean. Most people give up here because it is painful to see your own glitches, but you have to stay with it because this awareness is the only bridge to the next level. Level 3 is where things get interesting. This is conscious response or the strategist. This is the pro-gamer move. At this level, you finally unlock the most powerful weapon in the game, which is the pause. We talked about the biology earlier, but here is where you apply it. A trigger hits you, maybe it is an insult or a failure or a breakup, and instead of instantly firing back, you engage that half-second gap. You take a breath. You analyze the data. You realize that your anger is actually just fear in a trench coat. At level 3, you stop trying to win the argument and you start trying to win the war for your own peace. You choose precision over volume. You might go silent during a conflict not because you are sulking but because you are processing. Now, here is the trap of level 3. People who are still stuck at level 1 and 2 will look at you and say, "You have changed," or "You are being cold," or "You are distant." They are used to your reactivity. They are used to pushing your buttons and getting a predictable response, so when you stop dancing to their tune, they get uncomfortable. Do not let that shake you. You are not being cold, you are being clear. You are prioritizing your long-term alignment over your short-term ego. You are responding with intention rather than reacting out of habit. This is where you start to reclaim your sovereignty. You realize that most things do not require your opinion and almost nothing requires your immediate reaction. You are playing chess while everyone else is playing hungry hippos. But there is one more level. There is a summit that very few people reach, but it is available to you. Level 4 is emotional alchemy, or the master. This is the God mode of emotional intelligence. At this stage, you stop fighting your emotions entirely. You realize that emotions are just energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. So instead of suppressing anger, you transmute it into drive and assertiveness. Instead of running from fear, you use it as a focusing agent to sharpen your attention. Instead of drowning in sadness, you use it to deepen your capacity for empathy and connection. The master does not walk around with a blank face feeling nothing. That is a misconception. Detachment is not lobotomy. The master feels everything deeply, but they surf the wave instead of getting crushed by it. They understand that they are the ocean, and the emotions are just weather passing through. You are not your feelings, you are the space in which your feelings happen. When you reach level 4, you become an emotional thermostat for every room you walk into. You do not match the chaotic temperature of your environment, you set the temperature. You radiate a calm that is so heavy and so grounded that other people's nervous systems actually sync up to yours. You don't chase peace anymore, because you have become the peace. You have turned your pain into power and your wounds into wisdom. This is where you embrace the concept that life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. So here is the interactive part of the quest. I need you to drop the ego and look at the last week of your life. Look at your arguments, look at your stress levels, look at how you handled pressure. Which level are you currently stuck at? Are you the victim, the observer, the strategist, or the alchemist? There is no shame in being at level 1 because that is where we all start, but there is shame in staying there once you know the exit exists. I want you to comment your level down below right now. Do not just watch this and nod your head. Type it out. Writing it down is the first step of acknowledging the glitch in the system. If you are at level 2 and you are frustrated, say it. If you are oscillating between 3 and 4, say it. Let's see where the community is at, because once you identify your coordinates on the map, we can plot the course to the next stage. This is not about being perfect, it is about progress. It is about moving from being a passenger in your own life to being the driver. So hit the comments section, let me know your level, and let's start the upgrade process. We need to have a serious conversation about what you think emotional detachment actually looks like, because I guarantee most people have it completely backward. We usually think that being detached or stoic means you turn into a stone statue. You think the goal is to feel absolutely nothing, to look at a disaster and not even blink, to essentially lobotomize your heart so you never get hurt again. But let me tell you right now, that is not strength. That is suppression. And suppression is just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode your nervous system. The real aha moment, the shift that changes everything, isn't about deleting your emotions. It's about realizing that every single painful feeling you have is just data. This is what we call the alchemist mindset, and it's time to stop treating your emotions like enemies and start treating them like energetic fuel. Let's look at the physics of this. Physics tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or transformed. Your emotions are exactly the same. They are raw biological energy. The text we are working from calls this emotional alchemy. An alchemist doesn't throw away the lead. They transform it into gold. So, when you feel that hot, tightening sensation of anger in your chest, your brain usually screams danger, fight, attack. But if you pause and look at the data, you'll see that anger is actually just drive. It is high-octane fuel. Anger is simply a notification from your nervous system that a boundary has been crossed or a value has been disrespected. Instead of using that fire to burn your house down by screaming at your partner or sending that risky text, you use it as assertiveness. You channel that heat into clarity. You let the anger sharpen your focus so you can say, "I will not accept this," with absolute calm. That is the fire guiding you, not consuming you. Then take fear. We run from fear because it feels terrible, right? It feels like the walls are closing in. But flip the data script. Fear is actually just focus. It's your biology telling you, "Hey, pay attention. We are at the edge of our growth zone." Fear only shows up when you care about the outcome. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be scared. You'd be indifferent. So when that anxiety hits, instead of treating it like a stop sign, treat it like a spotlight. It's highlighting exactly what you need to prepare for. The data isn't saying run away. The data is saying sharpen your skills. The text explicitly says that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move through it. You use the fear to dial in, to prepare, to get hyper-focused. You turn the anxiety into activation. And what about frustration? This is the one that kills dreams faster than anything else. You're banging your head against the wall, nothing is working, and you just want to quit. But in the alchemist mindset, frustration is arguably the most valuable data point you can get. Frustration is the birthplace of innovation. It is literally just a feedback loop telling you that your current strategy is flawed. That's it. It's not saying you're a failure. It's saying pivot. It's an invitation to design a better way. When you stop taking frustration personally and start looking at it mechanically, you realize it's just an engine light on the dashboard. You don't destroy the car when the light comes on, you fix the issue. You use the energy of frustration to break the pattern, not yourself. Even sadness has a function. It's not weakness, it's depth. It cleans the windows of your soul so you can see what actually matters to you. It softens the ego, connects you to your humanity. When you stop resisting these feelings and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" you stop suffering and start learning. You stop drowning and start surfing. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great in theory, but when I'm in the heat of the moment, the emotion feels huge. It feels permanent. This is where we need a tactical nuke for your overthinking. We need to introduce a technique called the timeline reframe. Our brains have this glitch where we think the way we feel right now is the way we are going to feel forever. We catastrophize. We turn a missed phone call into a breakup or a bad meeting into getting fired. To stop this spiral, you have to force your brain to time travel. You have to ask yourself 3 specific questions. Will this matter in 1 hour? Will this matter in 1 week? Will this matter in 1 year? This technique is effectively a shrink ray for your problems. Most of the things that are hijacking your peace right now won't even be a memory next week. Think about the unbearable stress you felt 3 years ago. You probably can't even remember what caused it. That proves that today's overwhelm is temporary. When you apply the timeline reframe, you are dragging your brain out of the emotional storm of the present moment and anchoring it in the reality of the future. You realize that this specific email, this specific rude comment, this traffic jam, it's noise, the static, and you don't let static ruin the music of your life. Time shrinks emotional intensity, and perspective dissolves panic. If it won't matter in a year, don't spend more than 5 minutes being upset about it today. That is the rule. That is how you protect your energy. But there is one final level to this, and this is the spiritual kicker that cements everything we've talked about. This is the visual that needs to live in your head for the rest of your life. I want you to imagine the ocean. The ocean has waves on the surface. Some days the waves are massive, violent, crashing storms. Other days they are small and gentle. But those waves are just the surface. If you go 30 feet down, underneath the crashing waves, the water is completely still. It is silent. It is unshakable. Most of us go through life thinking we are the waves. We think we are the anger, we are the sadness, we are the chaos. We say things like, "I am angry" or "I am anxious," making the emotion our identity. Here is the truth. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. You are the vast, deep awareness that observes the waves. The waves, your emotions, will rise and fall. They will crash and break. That is their nature. But the ocean doesn't get destroyed by a storm. The ocean contains the storm. This is what true detachment feels like. It's not about stopping the waves. You can't control the weather. It's about remembering that you are the deep water beneath them. You can watch the anger rise, acknowledge it, feel its energy, and watch it dissolve back into the water without being swept away by it. You are the space in which the feelings happen, not the feelings themselves. When you really get this, when you really internalize that you are the ocean and not the wave, you stop being afraid of your own feelings. You stop needing to numb out or distract yourself because you know that no matter how big the wave gets, the ocean is bigger. You become the sky that holds the storm, not the house that gets blown down by it. This is the ultimate reframe. Pain is just data. Emotions are just energy. And you are the awareness that chooses how to use them. That is how you build an unshakable calm. That is how you stop reacting like a child and start responding like a master. You don't get rid of the fire. You become the one who controls the flame. This is the part of the video where most people tune out, but you are not going to do that because this is where the actual magic happens. Up until now, we have just been doing intellectual entertainment, nodding along to the idea of being calm, but knowledge without a protocol is just trivia. I am going to give you the exact 7-day roadmap to rewire your nervous system so that emotional detachment stops being a theory and starts being your default setting. I want you to look at this week not as a self-help exercise, but as a neurological boot camp. We are literally going to exploit your brain's neuroplasticity to thicken your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for control, and shrink the amygdala, which is that drama-loving alarm bell that keeps ruining your day. For the first 3 days, we are entering the trenches with what I call the no reaction challenge. Your only job for 72 hours is to master the 60-second gap. The source material tells us that when you get triggered, maybe it is a passive-aggressive text from a coworker or a partner leaving you on read, your amygdala hijacks your brain in about 12 milliseconds. It is lightning fast, but your logical brain, the part of you that knows better, takes about 500 milliseconds to wake up. That is a massive lag time. That half-second gap is where you ruin relationships and send texts you regret. So for days 1 through 3, you are going to implement a strict 60-second holding pattern on every single emotional spike. I want you to visualize this scenario because it is going to happen. You are going to get a notification that makes your stomach drop. Your heart rate is going to spike, and your thumbs are going to itch to type out a defense or a snarky comeback because your brain is screaming that you are under attack. You are going to feel that urgency, that burning need to correct the record immediately. Instead of scratching that itch, you are going to stare at the phone, put it face down, and do absolutely nothing for 1 full minute. You are going to force your body to sit in the discomfort without acting on it. This is where we apply the STOP method from the research. S stands for stop, just literally cease all movement. T is for take a breath, and I don't mean a shallow little gasp. I mean a 4-second inhale and a 6-second exhale that signals to your vagus nerve that you are not actually being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. O is for observe, where you ask yourself what is actually real right now versus what is just a story your insecurity is inventing. The language is English. And finally, P is for proceed, but only after that minute is up. By doing this, you are breaking the dopamine loop that rewards you for exploding. Every time you don't react, you are starving the old neural pathway and building a new one that equates silence with safety. Once you have spent 3 days playing defense, days 4 and 5 are about switching to offense with what the protocol calls stress inoculation. The source text makes a brilliant point that you cannot remain calm in stillness if your body has never learned to be calm in chaos. You have to train for the storm. We are going to use strategic stress to teach your nervous system that discomfort is just data, not danger. The most accessible way to do this is the cold shower technique. I know everyone on the internet talks about cold showers, but listen to the specific mechanism here. You are going to turn that handle all the way to cold for the last 60 seconds of your shower. When that cold water hits, your body is going to panic. You will want to hyperventilate and tense up because your brain thinks you are dying. Your job is to stand there and override that gasp reflex. You are going to force your breathing to slow down while your body is screaming at you. This is a simulation. If you can hold your composure when freezing water is hitting your skin, you are physically training the hardware in your brain to hold its composure when a heated argument breaks out. You are hardening your mind so that when real emotional pressure hits, your brain goes, Oh, I know this feeling, we have been here before and we didn't die. If cold water isn't your vibe, or if you want to double down, you can apply this to social friction. For these 2 days, I want you to initiate one low-stakes, awkward conversation. Ask for a discount on a coffee you know you won't get, or give a genuine compliment to a stranger that feels slightly too vulnerable. You are deliberately triggering that cringe feeling, that little spike of social anxiety, and then you are just standing in it. You are watching the awkwardness wash over you and realizing that it cannot hurt you. You are inoculating yourself against the fear of other people's opinions. This is how you stop being fragile. You don't get less sensitive by hiding. You get less sensitive by exposing yourself to small doses of the virus until you are immune. Finally, we move to days 6 and 7, which are dedicated to the recovery ritual. You cannot have emotional mastery on a sleep-deprived brain. The source material is crystal clear on this. Exhaustion makes your amygdala hyperactive. If you are sleeping 5 hours a night, you are walking around with a brain that is biologically wired to be paranoid and reactive. You are fighting a losing battle. So for the weekend, we are focusing on rebuilding our baseline. This isn't just about sleeping in, it is about aggressive maintenance. You are going to engage in what we call a dopamine detox for the final 48 hours. You need to understand that your constant scrolling is keeping your nervous system in a state of low-level survival mode. You are bombarded by breaking news, other people's highlight reels, and outrage bait. It is like drinking 10 cups of coffee and wondering why you can't meditate. For days 6 and 7, you are cutting the digital umbilical cord. No phone for the first hour of the morning and the last hour before bed. This creates a buffer zone. When you wake up and immediately check your notifications, you are letting the world dictate your emotional state before you have even brushed your teeth. You are outsourcing your peace to an algorithm. By reclaiming those mornings and evenings, you are telling your brain that you are the main character, not the audience. You are letting your dopamine receptors reset so that normal life starts to feel enough again. When you aren't overstimulated, you don't need drama to feel alive. The goal of this 7-day protocol isn't to turn you into a monk who never feels anything. It is to build a gap between the trigger and your response. It is about realizing that you are not your emotions. You are the space that your emotions pass through. By the end of this week, you will feel a shift. A text will come in, or a plan will fall apart. And instead of that familiar rush of panic, you will feel a strange, quiet pause. That pause is power. That pause is you taking the wheel back from your biology. I have summarized this entire 7-day protocol into a single cheat sheet that is on the screen right now. I want you to take a screenshot of this. Don't just save it to your watch later purgatory where dreams go to die. Save it as your lock screen for the next week. Look at it every time you pick up your phone. This is your contract with yourself. You are building the armor that makes you unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you are getting stronger. Commit to the 7 days, trust the neuroplasticity, and watch how quickly the chaos around you stops affecting the calm within you. This is the moment where everything we've talked about comes together. We need to zoom out and look at what your life actually looks and feels like once you integrate these tools. I want to take you back to that hook we started with. Picture the scenario. It's next Tuesday. You're having a decent morning, the coffee hit right, you're feeling good. Then, BZZZT. That text comes in. Maybe it's the ex who left you on read for 3 days coming back with a low-effort hey. Maybe it's that boss who thinks urgency is a personality trait yelling about a deadline that isn't even real. Maybe it's a passive-aggressive comment from a family member that usually ruins your entire weekend. In the old version of your reality, you know exactly what happens. You glitch. Your heart rate spikes to 120. Your stomach drops through the floor. The amygdala hijack we talked about earlier kicks in, and suddenly you aren't a rational human being anymore. You're a survival machine fighting for your life against a text message. You spend the next 3 hours rehearsing arguments in the shower. You draft a paragraph, delete it, draft it again. You lose your focus, you snap at your friends, and you feel that heavy, drained exhaustion by 2 p.m. because you've been leaking energy like a cracked battery. But that is not you anymore. Not after this. The next time that text comes in, or that voice raises, you won't glitch. You will look at the phone and you will feel space. You'll feel that fraction of a second we identified as the pause. And in that pause, you'll realize something that feels like a superpower. You'll realize that their chaos is happening around you, but it is not happening to you. This is the difference between being a leaf in the wind and being the trunk of the tree. The leaf goes wherever the wind blows. It has no say in the matter. The tree feels the wind, it acknowledges the wind, but it stays rooted. The source material describes this perfectly as the eye of the storm. Think about a hurricane. On the edges, it's violent. Roofs are being torn off, trees are snapping. It is absolute destruction. But if you could fly a plane right into the center, into the eye, it is dead calm. The sun is shining. It's quiet. That is what emotional detachment actually is. It is not stopping the storm. You cannot control the economy, you cannot control the internet comments, and you definitely cannot control other people's behavior. But you can move your position. You move from the edge where the damage is to the center where the clarity is. You watch the storm spin, but you don't get dizzy. And I know what some of you are thinking, because it's the biggest lie the internet tells us about this topic. You're worried that if you detach, you stop caring. You're worried you become cold or distant, or that Sigma male stereotype that's just repressed trauma in a suit. Let me clear this up right now. Detachment isn't about loving less. It is about loving without losing yourself. It is the ultimate form of self-respect. Think about the relationships that have hurt you the most. Usually, the pain didn't come from the love. It came from the attachment. It came from the desperate need for them to act a certain way so you could feel okay. That is what the text calls emotional outsourcing. You were handing them the keys to your nervous system and saying, "Here, you drive." And then you were surprised when they crashed the car. When you master detachment, you take the keys back. You can look at someone you love deeply, see them struggling, see them acting out of their own unhealed wounds, and you can offer them compassion without drowning with them. You can say, "I love you, but I will not set myself on fire just to keep you warm." That isn't coldness. That is sustainability. That is the only way real love actually works. You become a sanctuary for the people around you because you are the only one in the room not freaking out. This is where we get into that main character energy. And I don't mean the narcissistic kind. I mean the kind where you are the protagonist of your own emotional experience. When you are reactive, you are an NPC in your own life, a non-player character. The world pushes a button, and you recite the programmed line. You get triggered, you explode. You get ignored, you spiral. You are running on a script written by your trauma and your biology. Detachment is ripping up that script. It's deciding that you are the writer. When you walk into a room and everyone is stressed, mirror neurons usually make you copy that stress. You absorb the anxiety like a sponge. But when you are detached, you become the thermostat, not the thermometer. A thermometer just reflects the temperature of the room. If it's hot, it goes up. A thermostat sets the temperature. Your calm is so heavy, so grounded, that it actually regulates the people around you. That is influence. That is leadership. That is power. And looking forward, I want you to visualize the compound effect of this. We talked about neuroplasticity, how the brain physically changes. Every time you choose that stop method, every time you choose to breathe instead of snap, you are literally thickening your prefrontal cortex. You are building armor in your brain. 6 months from now, things that would have ruined your week won't even ruin your hour. A year from now, they won't even register as problems. They'll just be data. You will start to view emotions as visitors. They knock on the door. Anger knocks. Sadness knocks. Fear knocks. You open the door, you let them in, you sit with them. Maybe you have a cup of tea with them and ask what they're trying to tell you. But, and this is the key, you do not let them move in. You don't give them a key. You don't let them redecorate your house. They are visitors. You are the host. You are the sky, and they are just the clouds passing through. Clouds can be dark. They can be heavy. They can thunder and scream. But they can never, ever damage the sky. The sky has room for all of it. So, as you go forward from this video, I want you to carry this final truth with you. Peace is not the absence of chaos. If you are waiting for your life to stop being chaotic before you can be peaceful, you will be waiting forever. Peace is the refusal to let the chaos own you. It is the deep, quiet knowing that you can handle whatever lands on your doorstep. The next time you feel that heat rising in your chest, remember, you don't have to catch the ball. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You can just watch it pass. You can stay in the eye of the storm. You can love deeply, live fully, and feel everything, but remain completely, unshakably unbroken. That is the art. That is the goal. And now you have the tools to live it. You have made it this far, which tells me something very specific about you. It tells me that you are tired of being a passenger in your own mind. Most people clicked off this video 5 minutes ago because their dopamine receptors are fried and they cannot handle deep work. But you are still here. That means you have the capacity for what we call level 4 mastery, or emotional alchemy. But here is the trap, and I need you to listen closely because this is where 90% of people fail. You cannot think your way into detachment. You cannot watch a video, nod your head, and suddenly become unshakable. Your brain does not work like that. We learned from the source material that your brain is rewired through repetition, through neuroplasticity. It takes 8 to 12 weeks of consistent friction to shrink that amygdala and thicken your prefrontal cortex. If you close this tab and go back to doom scrolling or arguing in the comments section of a political post, you are resetting your progress to zero. You are feeding the old neural pathways that keep you addicted to chaos. We are building a specific kind of community here. This is not just a subscriber count. This is a digital environment for the 1% who are serious about exiting the matrix of reactivity. We are talking about reaching that level 4 state where you stop drowning in the waves and realize you are the ocean. So I am issuing a challenge. I do not want passive viewers. I want active operators. If you are committed to reaching level 4, if you are ready to stop bleeding for things that do not care about you, I need you to signal it to the algorithm and, more importantly, to yourself. Hit that subscribe button right now. Do it so you can lock in this signal to your nervous system that you are prioritizing peace over drama. And then, I want you to go down to the comments and type a single word: alchemist. Why that word? Because an alchemist does not suppress emotion. We are not trying to be robots here. A robot feels nothing. An alchemist feels everything but is controlled by nothing. When you type alchemist, you are signing a contract with your future self. You are saying that from this day forward, when anger hits you, you will not explode. You will transmute that heat into assertiveness and drive. When fear hits you, you will not freeze. You will transmute that adrenaline into razor-sharp focus. When sadness hits you, you will not collapse. You will use it to deepen your empathy and connection. That is what it means to join this community. Look at the comments section right now. Scroll down. Look at all the people typing alchemist. That is your tribe. Those are the people who are waking up. Psychological studies show that we become the average of the 5 nervous systems we interact with most. If your timeline is full of outrage culture and people venting their trauma without healing it, you will stay sick. By subscribing and engaging here, you are curating a digital environment that reflects the calm, sovereign, powerful version of yourself you are trying to build. You are hacking your own mirror neurons to reflect strength instead of fragility. But there is one major biological hurdle standing between you and this state of unshakable calm, and we touched on it briefly today. It is your dopamine baseline. You can have all the philosophy in the world, but if your brain is biologically addicted to the chemical spikes of stress and instant gratification, you will sabotage your own peace. You will subconsciously look for problems just to feel that hit of cortisol and dopamine. You need to understand the mechanism of control. I have a video right here on dopamine control that explains exactly how to reset your brain's reward system so that calm does not feel boring, but feels like power. You need to watch that next to complete the toolkit. Before you click that, I want you to visualize what this actually looks like. Imagine walking into a room where everyone else is panicking. The deadlines are missed, the critics are loud, the pressure is suffocating. And in the middle of that hurricane, there is you. You are not tense. Your breathing is slow. Your heart rate is low. You are not checking your phone for validation. You are observing. You are the eye of the storm. People are drawn to you not because you are the loudest, but because you are the most still. You have something they do not. You have ownership of your own soul. The world spins, but you do not shake. That is the goal. That is the standard. Subscribe, comment Alchemist, and click this video on dopamine to keep the momentum going. I will see you in there.